Hello, and welcome to the Side Character Quest Halloween Variety Show. My name is Mason Amadeus, and joining me today is the one and only, your favorite, your friend, the DM, the host, the maker of the entire thing, Ty.
Hello, Mason. It is a wonderful day today, and this here, the month of Halloween, the month of my birthday as well.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's a coming. I am so excited to be doing a Halloween special once again for Side Character Quest, and even if we don't have time to do like a fully realized, fully sound designed, weird experimental Halloween thing, I just like doing Halloween specials. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing that any show does, Halloween specials. So I've got to do one, and here we are.
I agree. I, too, enjoy a special holiday episode of a podcast. And I especially enjoy ones that break the format, as much as I do like the weird experimental things. And I fear that the more we talk about that, the more the listener will think that there is another shoe, a shoe of Damocles hanging over us, and that at some point this is going to transform into something very experimental. Listener, it will not.
No.
Instead, we are in for a trip down a more like, I don't know, classic radio style show in which we are going to be interviewing Ty. We have a variety of voicemails that people have left. We have a variety of questions from the Discord. We have an article that I sent to you at one point that I want to get your opinion on about DMing. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I also have a fun game that you and I are going to play at some point.
Yeah, I noticed an ominous, a couple of links on the prep sheet here that just say, don't click this, Mason, and special fun game, and then a bunch of things that are blocked out. So I'm a little nervous as to what you have planned for me, Ty.
Yeah, we've got some ominous things. We have, I don't know if you noticed this, a spooky reading from a special guest. Oh, what could that be about?
That I'm very curious about.
What else do we have? What else do we have ahead of us?
Oh, we've got just a variety of questions, would you rather questions, logistics questions, behind the scenes. We'll talk about the making of Side Character Quest. We'll talk about your philosophy and approach to GMing and running games and creating characters, and as well as some other silly sort of off-topic things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we'll launch straight in and start out with one of the voicemails that was left. So unless there's anything you want to spread out on the top here, Ty.
All I want to add is that whenever one of us feels during this recording session like things are going, like a segment is going on too long, we will end that segment by triggering some sort of little toy we have around the office with us.
I have grabbed my favorite little sound maker, which is a children's birthday favor that I think is from Party City, that makes that delightful little sound. So if ever things are dragging, I've got this.
All right, voicemail time. You
All right,
you
voicemail
did it. You triggered
time.
it.
We've done it. All right. So, Ty, the voicemail to call, why don't you give us that number real quick while I pull this voicemail up?
I don't remember the full number. I will have it in the
you
show
notes.
notes.
You don't remember your own voicemail number?
I remember the number itself. I don't remember. Okay, it's SCQ 371 loud. Give us a shout.
That's it.
But I don't remember what the actual numbers are that correspond to those letters. So I will have both SCQ 371 loud in the show notes as well as the actual number.
Okay. So SCQ, what are the numbers in the middle?
371.
371 loud. That's SCQ 371 LOUD or LOVE, actually.
Yes,
you could do
love.
SCQ love. 371 SCQ love. This
Show us
first
some
question comes to us from Andrea. And this is the first voicemail. It's actually similar to a second voicemail we had. We'll see if we need to tack that one on. But to start out, here's Andrea.
Hi, yeah, I'm calling in for your Halloween question show. As I'm sure you're aware, the drive to ask, well, the drive to make jokes and the drive to, just like crack wise a lot when you're in a horror campaign is kind of uncontrollable. I do it, my players do it. What's your advice about maintaining kind of a scary momentum in a Halloween one-shot game when everyone's joking around? Beyond, like saying, hey guys, don't do it, because I think that kind of kills the vibe too. Are there workarounds for that? Thanks.
Okay, so Andrea is asking essentially, how do you run a Halloween or a horror campaign that isn't just devolving into jokey jokes like a lot of sessions are? And I think more broadly, you could expand this to include any session where you just don't want it to get too jokey. How do you handle that, Ty?
Oh, man. I think this is going to involve a lot of like talking with people, setting the tone of like what you actually expect and want with your players ahead of time. And I'm saying that, and of course, like, do I do that? I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Gosh, how do I do that? How would you approach this, Mason?
So I'm not as prolific of a GM as you, but I think I can speak to how you do it because I play
please
games
tell
with
me
you.
because
And it's something that I've actually noticed a lot around the table, and it's that the GM isn't the one creating the entire mood. It's something that comes from all the players playing, but the GM is kind of the steward of the vibe. And so I think the thing that you do, and it's the thing that I've noticed you do, is that when things are getting jokey, let's say you're in a tense moment and a player cracks a joke and it's really funny, riff with them, laugh at it, ha ha ha, that's very funny. And then you as the DM, you just swoop into a more dramatic voice after that. You laugh at their joke and then you're like, ha ha ha, oh yeah, oh that's a good one. The vampire lord spreads his wing. You know, you just pivot.
Yeah.
We all feel the need to transition. And I do this a lot when I'm hosting interviews and stuff. I feel this need to transition smoothly that you don't actually need as a listener. You can just jump. And also, not just as a listener, to take this out of a show context, in a game session, you can just jump back into it.
Something, I think you're right. Now that you've said that, I do that. Another thing that I've thought of that I do sometimes is when the players are making jokes out of character or in character and they're doing like silly things, having a non-player character there who can react to that as if like, fuck, I get that you're trying to like blow off steam, but this is a serious situation. And having them, like, you as the GM, like, you laugh, you whatever, but then having somebody in fiction, in world, come in kind of like, haha, yeah, that is really funny. Anyway, I'm really fucking scared right now, guys.
Yeah, actually, that's particularly interesting. So either you can acknowledge it, move on as the DM, or having your NPCs shut down the players' jokes is a lot less interpersonally challenging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like an NPC can just outright not think it's funny. That might even be funny for the table, but would help steer the vibe.
Yeah.
Actually, I think about that. Not to comp an obvious comp, but the Adventure Zone, particularly in the balance arc, a lot of humor came from the NPCs not really being on the same level of ridiculousness as the characters.
Yeah.
And you could use that to sort of, that same mechanic to steer yourself back to Serious Town.
Yeah, definitely.
Aside from that, Ty, is there anything that you do during the recordings of SCQ to try and keep things from turning into a joke fest? Because you've described the show as not particularly a comedy show. And I think that's true. The show has funny moments, for sure, but it's not overly a jokey joke show. It's much more of a fiction piece.
What do I do, man? That is a great question. I think that really, like, what I am always thinking when I'm making SCQ, when I'm making anything, is that, like, I am not trying to bring humor to anything. I am never looking for a joke any more than I am during any other time of my life. And so since the priority of the adventure is adventure, or in this case, it would be horror. Like, if the priority is horror, that is always where my GM brain is at. That is always, like, when I am consciously thinking of like what needs to happen next, I am not thinking as the GM what needs to happen next to bring humor. I'm thinking what needs to happen next to bring the adventure, or to bring the scary, or to bring the tense, or to bring the whatever. And I think that if that is your priority, if you allow humor to be an afterthought, if you allow it to be a break in tension, then it just becomes natural that you always reset and that you always keep going. Like, I'm not looking to be the class clown at the table, you know?
Mm-hmm. You're looking to move the story along, and by doing that, you're shepherding the vibe just by what you're introducing.
Yeah. Does that
shepherding
does that
the
actually
vibe?
help? Shepherding the vibe. Does that actually does that address the question? I don't know.
I think that we did. I think we did hit that. And I want to pivot to a second voicemail that's kind of the yang to the yin of that question, sort of the inverse of that. I'll let the voicemail speak for itself, and then we'll pitch it to you. And I should mention, this is from Colin.
Yes, hi. My question is for everyone, and that question is, how do scary story for Halloween, but not too scary? How make horror, but not make me pee my pants? Thank you for your time.
So, Colin's question, how do you make horror but not make it too scary? How do you toe that line between something that is creepy and something that is like outright terrifying? Well, let's just open it up there. I have some thoughts to prod you along based on some media I know you consume, but we'll start with just the raw question.
Raw question. So I think that does build directly off of what I was just saying, where allowing if I'm being the shepherd of the vibes, not policing other people making jokes, allowing other people to make those jokes if they want to, and always pulling it back, right? But pulling it back onto whatever the main topic is. But allowing for jokes, I think, does a lot to prevent the pee of the pants. But another thing that can help, I think, is talking ahead of time about if there is anything that is like, hey, this particular topic goes too far for you. And sometimes that can get a little bit too granular and a little bit too heavy-handed. But if I've had somebody, tell me like, hey, there was X topic, which I'm not going to mention because I don't want to put anybody on blast.
Well, I'll put myself on blast because of recent things that have happened in my life. I'm pretty touchy around stuff that involves medical horror, medical events. And so I'm avoiding that kind of media. And if we were to be playing a game that was horror, I would be like, hey, can we shy away from this kind of thing? But that feels much more explicit than like you're at the table in a scene and something, it's like just getting too, like you've done it too hard. How do you recover? I feel like that's sort of what Colin's angle is.
A thing
reading
that
between the lines.
A thing I have found useful as well is the just being able to like, this is a very common technique, I think, in actual play, not in actual play, in TTRPGs, but throwing up just sort of crossed arms to make like a little X to say, hey, this scene is starting to touch on things that are too much for me. Let's please move on away from this. And then during our next break, perhaps the GM like talks with that player and says, hey, what specific, like, can you give me any more specifics about what I need to avoid there? Because, especially if you don't do that first round of, hey, Mason, is medical stuff what's gonna bother you? And medical stuff's gonna bother me. Let's not do that. If we start getting into a very medical driven horror thing and you're like, listen, this is too much for me, I'm not having a good time with that, we can pivot. Beyond when I think like too scary, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I guess that is kind of the part of the question that is the trickiest in my brain as well, is like, what is too scary? I have not played a TTRPG that has got me.
It's usually the opposite problem, right?
Yeah, like it's hard to make it scary.
It's usually so hard to make things scary. The idea of needing to pull that back feels very, very difficult. Because there's, for me at least, not like I am pretty much only ever scared by movies. I've only dipped my toes into like horror audio drama and horror books and so forth. None of them have ever scared me. I've never felt fear from that, but I felt fear from a movie.
So if I can pull a little bit of a curtain back, my wife, Brooke, produces the show 13.
A great show, which I've listened to a few episodes of. And it's horror. It's a horror audio drama, essentially, sort of horror narration. And that's my touchstone for things that might get
too spooky. But even that show, I don't think, like, I feel like they do a good job of walking the line. And something I've picked up from them that I want to bounce off of you to get your thoughts about is that horror isn't in so much about what happens as it is about, like, the lens that you put something through. Like, it's not, if you were to set about to write a horror story, you don't think what's the scariest thing. You think, like, what is, like, personally devastating? Like, how do I, what lens do I shine on these events that happen? Or, you know, and then you can add in supernatural elements or whatever.
No, totally. That is a great point. That is a thing that I was thinking. I watched Midsommar for the first time earlier this summer.
Oh, I still haven't seen.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the plot or anything about that. But I had a thought while I was watching it, which is the beginning of the movie doesn't do anything to indicate that this is going to be a that plot. It doesn't tell you what the plot is going to be, right? The very beginning of the movie. I mean, it actually does foreshadow a lot of things very strongly. But what I mean is, there's a way that it is shot and acted and directed and sound designed that indicate tension, that indicate that this is a horror thing. But there's nothing about the tools that are used, the directorial tools, that need to be exclusive to a thing with, like, gore and killing and whatever. And, like, if that, you could take the beginning of that movie and slap it onto a movie that is entirely just set in, like, New York, following a person in a bad relationship with her boyfriend dealing with grief. And that's it. Like, it could be an entirely interpersonal drama, right? And
it's the paint on it.
And use all of that paint to make it incredibly tense and incredibly moving and devastatingly sad, using the tools of horror, you know?
Yes. You've taken the point I was trying to gesture towards and put it into the exact words. That is, yes. That's completely it. It's a moment to moment thing, right?
Yeah. So using that, thinking about that, let's how you make someone pee their pants while playing a game, really focusing on those moments, making things very personal, taking away their their action hero tools, all of those things that are used to make stuff sort of fun and action movie-y, pulling those away and focusing on character and focusing on tension and focusing on this, like, moment to moment fear and stuff, I think can make it more frightening. And conversely, giving the players more power, more control to frame scenes, to decide how they handle certain situations and so on and so forth, that removes a lot of that fear. If the players can say, like, oh, we're going to, I want to pop away to this other scene where I'm doing XYZ, having that ability to move into another, take control from the GM and move to another scene, I feel like that does a lot towards making it less scary for the person playing. That's not the only way you can do it, but that's something that comes to mind.
I think that's a very good answer. Let's pivot and let's continue on the same theme of talking about general, I guess I'll say advice. General advice.
Wait, we're pivoting?
Oh, not, I thought, okay, wait. I thought that noise thing was just for if it was dragging. I didn't think we were dragging.
Oh no, we're gonna do it every time, man. You ready?
Okay. Well, but it's only it's a half pivot. So okay. And if that audio is hellish, Ty, you might need to replace it with something from a library.
I've got bells and stuff. I can also do things.
Well, you know, I've got that. I've got my squirrel call, so I can use that. All right.
Wonderful.
So a half pivot. All right, Ty. You
Yes.
should put some, like, magical tinkles under that. Not to add to your workload.
Oh,
Maybe
I'm not going to.
Let's stay inside the universe of talking about the theory behind playing TTRPGs and running TTRPGs. And we're going to switch to a couple of text questions. And I think after this, we'll move from talking about theory of running TTRPGs into stuff that is more specific to SCQ. So this question is coming into us from... Oh, I lost my highlight. Give me just 1 second. Okay.
How dare you?
This question comes to us again from Andrea. Andrea, I'm so sorry if I'm mixing that up. Ty, do you know?
I believe that they go by Andrea.
Andrea.
They told me it doesn't matter, but I've heard them refer to themselves pronouncing it Andrea. So
everyone I've met named Talia always says it doesn't matter if it's tall or Tal. And I wonder if that's similar. I think it matters Andrea, right? Okay.
Andrea. That is my understanding.
Andrea, the MVP, sending in a lot of great questions. Andrea asks, what do you do with a dead player? So you're playing a horror one-shot and killed off one of your players. Congratulations. But now, what do you do with this player sitting idle for the rest of the game? Is there a way to keep them invested without pulling your fatal blow?
Oh, there's so many different tools for this. So I think the where you see this as normally a problem would be in a game like D&D.
Pathfinder.
Pathfinder or D&D or whatever.
I once spent an entire Pathfinder session downed, and it was miserable. What could have gone different?
Anything where it is like where combat stretches out really long anyway, and so you can't just like resolve things and move forward. Lots of games handle death differently. They handle death as like the end of a scene, or they don't have like this very granular combat, and so a player isn't just like sitting waiting for the scene that killed them to resolve, right? The scene that kills them resolves, and then you can move on to other things. So like different ways to handle this.
So just to organize that a little bit to make sure I'm following.
Oh, please. Yes.
You're talking that this is an issue. What you've said is that this is an issue more common in games that have granular, lengthy combats, such as Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
And less of a problem in games that are more narratively based, such as Monster of the Week or Powered by the Apocalypse or Blades in the Dark. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. As you repeat that back to me, I do see a slight flaw in my my argument. I do think that it can be a problem in other stuff. I just think that it is by necessity going to be a problem in D&D that you have to address at some point, because when someone gets downed, combat doesn't end, and they're not technically dead, but they are basically dead, and they will be for like 30 minutes. Like the actual process of dying in D&D takes three. I guess it would take 3 turns, because if you rolled a critical fail on your death saving throw, then it's the first one. Twice. Then that kills you. And so on your first turn, that's 1, 2, 3.
So that kind of thing is endemic of that combat system.
Yeah, that could take 30 minutes or more to find out that you're dead, right? That's a problem.
It is a problem.
That could happen in other games, but like it is going to happen in a game like D&D unless you are very particular in how you handle it and you address it in some way. Does that answer your question? Your clarification?
So I think it answers that some systems are worse for this than others due to the way they handle combat. Mm-hmm. Here is, I think, perhaps a more practical question to answer Andrea's query, which is, what are some creative ways to deal with that? Say you are playing D&D, you have a character die in combat. Do you give them a ghost NPC to play? Do you put them in charge of something else? Like, how do you handle that creatively? Yeah,
I think ghost NPC is really potentially useful. I think having if this is a religious character, every time it comes up to their turn, having them have an interaction with their deity. With their patron, if they're like a warlock type character.
That's good, Ty.
That way it's still going, and you can still have that death saving throw, right? But like giving them like a dramatic moment that is just for them could be really useful. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's a broader point that I'll write down. You go.
I was just going to say that there's other ways that I've seen people handle this where they say like, when it's your turn to be dead, you can give players the option to do like a big, like, all right, I will fail all of my death saving throws, and in exchange, I get to do a critical hit against the person we're fighting, right? Like it's this sort of last hurrah moment, which can be really, really fun and powerful and moving. I think a potentially bigger issue is after the player has fully died, and they have fully died within the first half of a Halloween one shot, right? Because I think that's Andrea said. So you're playing a horror one shot, and you killed off one of your players. What do you do?
Yes, they did give that specific context.
So I think in that context, like me personally, I would probably just not use a game system like D&D for a horror one shot. If I wanted death to really be on the table, like if I didn't want death to be really on the table, then perhaps I would, how would I do? You know what? I think if I was doing a Halloween one shot, I would have a plan for what happens if someone dies, and I would make it so that if you hit 0 HP, you just immediately are dead. There's no chance for death saving throws, because this is a Halloween one shot. I don't want you to be down for 30 minutes as you find out if you're dead. I want to immediately move on to, you've died, now you've been resurrected as a monster who is now hunting the rest of the team, something like that. Or now you've been resurrected as a ghost, something like that. Speaking of ghosts, I just wanted to pop in from the future really quickly to recommend my favorite game that I have come across for Halloween one-shots, and that is the game called Murderous Ghosts. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure game that can be played with 2 or more people very quickly, basically no prep. It's very fun, and I'll have a link to it in the show notes. It's really good. Check it out.
I think an overarching theme in this and the other questions we've covered so far is that it's really all about the moment-to-moment narrative framing. Mm-hmm. And I think that this dovetails into a question I'm bringing to the table that is not on the prep sheet, which, well, it kind of leads into one. All right, I'll fuse it into this. Combat is probably the quickest thing to kill momentum at a table. I think in most of the systems I've played, pretty much because it requires that extra layer of tactical thinking. Suddenly the players are thinking in terms of turns and moves, what they might do next. And that looks different. It's obviously way more gritty in a Dungeons & Dragons type system versus like a Powered by the Apocalypse one. But it still is something that can really kill momentum. And I think a unique insight that you have as a person who's been doing this for entertainment, for a show that other people must consume, is how do you make combat interesting moment to moment, because it bogs down a lot, and it's hard to keep interesting. What are some tricks you use?
One thing that I use, and I think I've probably mentioned this elsewhere before, is always having all of the NPCs react like human beings. And by that I mean most people and most animals, like monsters, if you're fighting like a bear or something, most things are not going to fight to the death. Right? If they feel like they are losing, they're going to try bargaining with you. They're going to try running away. They're going to try doing like a big last hurrah, like a big thing to like end whatever. They're not going to just war of attrition needle you down until both of you are like bleeding and limping and on 1 HP. And now you're finally like, all right, I guess I'll beat the shit out of, unarmed strike you, punch you in the face. That does 1 HP. All right, now you're down. And now I'm just going to punch you a few times while you're like laying on the ground dead. No, that's ridiculous. People are going to act more naturally. And what that means is you can have NPCs doing things that are not optimal. So that when people are behaving not optimally, that ends the combat faster. You can have people try to bargain their way out of a situation, which can get you out of combat possibly faster. And I just don't enjoy the act as a player. I'm not a big fan of like war of attrition combat. It's not a thing that I like. I like playing with people, right? So if I'm playing with a bunch of people that I like and we're doing that sort of combat, then I'm having a good time. But it's not the sort of thing that I would set up for myself.
But here, so that's very practical and good for talking about how to make NPCs act in combat to make things interesting. NPCs are one of the things you control, but also, as we've mentioned, the DM is the shepherd of the vibes at the table. Yeah. And I think a big part of it is taking, like a player will say, I cast this and I do that, and I'm going to attack them. I'm going to do a double attack or whatever. how do you as a DM rescue the like player just inserting a punch card of instructions into you? How do you shy away from that? And that will lead into a discussion about this thing called the star pattern, which I will share after this.
There is a thing that I've heard people say with regards to strategy in games, which is if the monsters can do it, if the NPCs can do it, then the players can do it. What that's typically referring to is like, or they go the opposite way, where like if the players can do it, then the NPCs can do it. And that's the argument for like, hey, player, you're asking if you can break how this spell works so you can do so you can create water inside someone's lungs. All right, cool. You can do that. But if you can do that, the NPCs can do that. Similarly, taking that concept and applying this here, I think that modeling NPCs behaving in the way that I described earlier, modeling to the players that NPCs are not behaving optimally all the time, modeling that they are doing like a desperate big swing, that they are using the environment in interesting ways, and that I'm describing them doing this crazy thing. I think that tells the player, hey, I'm doing it. You can do it. Because I think one thing that never works as much as I wish that it did is like looking over at somebody and saying, all right, now tell me how this, describe this in a cool way. And, you know, some people will hear that. Some people need to hear that. And the first time they hear that, they're like, oh, yeah, I get it. And now they realize like the power of collaborative storytelling and stuff. Other people, that's never going to be comfortable. And you need to, like, they need to have it modeled for them for a little bit. They need to be able to sit and like see how it works. And then eventually when they're ready, they will come out and be like, all right, this is, yeah, okay, cool, I'll do this. And some people never get there, and that's fine, you know? Do
you ever find yourself, when you're playing not for show, trying to model a good combat turn as a player for like the rest of the table, where you like, oh, let me try and describe my turn as narratively and colorfully as possible in hopes that it will inspire others to do it? Do you ever use that as a player?
I do, but at the same time, when you're in like a large group that are playing like a long combat, I often will feel like I am hogging the spotlight when I do that. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, I know it's going to be, you know, each round of combat is going to take like 15 minutes, you know, so if I'm spending an extra 90 seconds describing what it looks like when I take my turn, then that's 90 seconds that all of the other players now have to wait before they can do their thing.
Ooh, but Ty, isn't it much more fun to have that 90 seconds in which you are participating in the story, though, instead of just saying, I do X, Y, and Z to A effect, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is a do as I say, not as I do situation. I think if everyone at the table is going for what you're describing, then I think that it works really well. Or if some people at the table aren't, you know, if they're, but everyone is enjoying the people that do, then it works. It's so important to be a good audience member when you're at a table. It's so important to be excited when somebody describes doing something cool.
100%.
And so when everyone is being excited and whatever, then it works. Anyway, yeah.
Vibes at different tables are interesting. So this is all setting up this article that I stumbled on and sent to you for your perusal. Did you happen to read through it, Ty?
I read it like a week and a half ago when we thought that we were going to be recording last week.
It was a while ago. Well, because we need to share it with the listener, I can summarize it pretty quick.
I will link to this in the show notes, by the way.
You should read it. It's a good read. It's from Ars Ludi, which is just a blog from some person named Ben. And it is about the star pattern, a pitfall of GMing. And what they describe is this pattern where all the players talk to the GM, but they don't talk to each other. So if you imagine the table with like circles for each person and you drew a line of interaction between them, all the players talk just to the GM. Makes kind of a star shape, versus if everyone is talking to each other, you have this sort of web of interaction. And I'll just read this bit from the blog real quick to tee us up because I want to get your opinions on it. They say this: when I say star pattern, I mean when all the players talk to the GM but don't talk to each other. picture the table, draw lines showing interactions, like I just said. They say it's something that can happen in any social situation when one person becomes the center of attention, but it's a trap GMs can fall into very easily. What causes this problem? The simple explanation is that a lot of GMs fear silence. Silence at the table can feel like the game is not exciting and no one is having any fun. And when you put yourself in the mindset of thinking you are responsible for the fun, another classic GM mistake, and that the success of the game is entirely on your shoulders, silence feels like failure. The GM wants to keep the game interesting, so they keep talking, trying to paint a fascinating picture. Every time the player describes taking action, the GM jumps in and repeats it with a more dramatic description because they want to sell the magic. And because the GM is talking, the players don't, because they don't want to interrupt. And when the GM pauses for a second, if the players don't immediately jump in, the GM hears the silence and speaks up again to fill it. It's a vicious cycle. They say so much more, and it's a great blog post, but that is the gist of it. Ty, has this borne out in your experience?
This totally has. And I think it's a much bigger problem, I think, online than in person. I mean, it is still a problem in person, but online, when you don't have it's harder to tell the visual cues looking around the room, seeing like who's paying attention to what. And it's harder to see if like you can just sort of, if Billy is GMing for you and me, and we want to just sort of like, look over, whisper at each other a quick little note, that's fine. But if we're in a Zoom chat, it's much harder to do that without feeling like you're interrupting the GM, because it's all at the same volume. It's all getting displayed to everybody.
That's very astute.
I have found that I think that's one of the strengths of Side Character Quest as a show, the fact that it is just two people, that we don't really have to deal with this as a problem. It is inherently addressed and fixed.
You can't have a star with only 2 dots.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that is one of the strengths of the show, but it also means that it's something that I am hyper aware of when I GM of this as a problem, and I don't have a lot of experience actually fixing, because at this point, most of my experience as a GM is one player, or one player, 2-person. So I don't have a lot of experience actually addressing this problem, but I just immediately notice it when I start doing it.
So as far as trying to avoid that, I guess it's a bit of a trap to ask you, because again, you don't have that many points. But I feel like it dovetails with talking about trying to shepherd the vibes, but without being responsible for the fun. That's another aspect of it that they say is a GM mistake, is feeling responsible for the fun. I imagine that's extra pressure in your context.
Yes. I find that something that I've had to work on with SCQ, that I feel like I've gotten better at it in time, is sitting in silence. Making it known to the player that like, hey, if we need to allow a moment to sit and you don't know what to say, you can just not say anything. And again, that's something that I try to model to people, of like, all right, we're just going to sit like this and we're going to hang out for a few moments, because we can always just edit out that chunk of time. The problem that I see happening sometimes with larger groups is if everybody at the table is trying, or the remote call online, if everyone is trying to not step on anyone's toes, then that silence can stretch and stretch and stretch, which is a problem, and because then it can like drag things and make things feel slow and whatever. But a bigger problem is when, or more common problem for me, is when I get preemptively scared of that silence, and everyone at the table is also getting, and so we just kind of like, we never let any moments sit. A problem I've run into, I'm running a Curse of Strahd game for Halloween this year, and a problem that I'm finding in myself is feeling like as the GM, I should be the person, doing the entertainment like you're talking about. And because of that, I'm always pushing things forward. And the players afterwards, I asked them like, hey, is there any takeaways, anything that you'd like us to focus on next time we play? And they commented wanting more time, more interpersonal time for role play. between the characters. And I was like, oh, but I did a little spotlight of you, and I did a spotlight of you, and I did a spotlight of you. So like all of those were moments for you to role play. And it's like, no, they don't want moments to role play their character. They want moments where they can have conversations in character with each other.
They want to role play at
Yes.
the table. Yeah. And I think
Yes.
it's so easy to get caught up in this like mental logistics of like thinking about trying to preempt everyone's feelings in a way that's unhelpful for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to role play a game, not role play a performance on stage, you know?
Yeah, and I wonder too, and we won't get into this. We're going to pivot right after this. Very quick question: do you think the proliferation of actual play podcasts as a genre, proliferation is probably not the right word, but it's a growing popular genre, and for a lot of people, they get into playing tabletop role playing games after hearing a podcast in which the people on it play a role playing game. Do you think that colors a lot of new players' sort of idea of what it means to play in ways that are much more about entertainment, like filling silence, etc.?
Yeah, I think that is a thing that is incredibly, from what I've heard online, that is an incredibly common thing. However, the vast majority of the people I have played with are people that have been playing since before they started watching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that hasn't really felt like a strong thing in my personal experience. I'm aware that it is a thing that happens. The biggest thing that I noticed from my personal experience is me and a few people having a really hard time not referring to game sessions as episodes.
Yeah, I mean, the curse of making something out of your hobbies, right? Let's go ahead and pivot and talk even more about making something out of your hobbies, and we'll talk just about SCQ.
All right, let's see.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Wait, you do or you don't want me to be here?
Yeah. What? No, you can be here if you can be here if you want to be here.
Is Grumples coming out of
Yeah.
something? How do I interact? What do I do, Ty?
You can do whatever you want. I didn't know he was going to be here today.
Yeah, he didn't know I was going to be here today. But here I am. All right. I don't like... What?
Well,
Yep.
So, I mean, as always, it's a bit of a mystery where Grumples has come from, but I didn't see you come in the room
I don't know why he's here.
on Ty's camera.
Yeah.
You just suddenly sort of nudge your way in.
Yeah, I'm always present. I'm always a guy. I'm always around. Did you know that? I'm always around in your heart.
Ty has moved like 3 or 4
Can't
times
get away.
in the last. It feels like months.
Can't get away.
Yeah,
no,
apparently.
sir. No, sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
Yep.
actually, good. It's convenient that
Yes,
you're here,
sir.
Grumples. There is actually one question
Is
here
there
for you
really?
from Alex.
Okay.
Yeah. Alex actually specifically wants to know, what's the deal with Grumples? Does he work as an HVAC technician, or is that a lie? And where does he come from? And also, why haven't we heard from Grumples more recently?
Oh God, can I address these questions in turn? I feel like I'm being put on the spot. Give me one at a time. What's the first one?
Sure. The first one from Alex was, what's Grumples' deal? So that's a bit of a big one.
Man,
What's your deal,
I
Grumps?
like poker usually.
No, are you actually an HVAC technician?
Separate
I think
question.
you mentioned that.
Okay. Am I actually an HVAC technician? I mean, I'm
sort of the same question.
I know that I have the knowledge. Yep.
Okay. But do you have the license, I suppose?
Oh God. Do I need to leave and go take care of this? I didn't know I was supposed to have a license. Is this is a trap? I swear to God. I didn't know.
I'm pretty well, I'm not, there's no enforcement here. I'm pretty sure that there is licensing.
Okay, well, if you're just pretty sure, then I'm pretty sure that you need to have a license to have a swoopy haircut.
Okay, cool. So I see. I'm glad it wasn't the mustache.
Not this time. I've got a little
and
mustache. I
so-
don't know if you noticed.
No, I certainly did, and little isn't the word
No.
I would have chosen to describe it. Grumples, the final question
Yep.
from Alex was, Why haven't we heard from Grumples more lately?
Why haven't I heard from you,
What have
Alex?
you been up to? Okay, that's actually a fair question.
I mean, hey, Alex, you give me your personal home address. I'll send you a postcard.
I wouldn't do that.
This is a real offer. Alex, you give me a postcard address, I will send you a postcard.
It's also a real bad idea to give this guy your address,
That's
dog.
how-
I wouldn't do it. No offense, G-Man.
Ty got a postcard from me once.
Is that true, Ty?
Yeah.
And is that sort of what?
Yeah, that's kind of started this whole thing.
Okay.
Have you watched It Follows?
No, I haven't.
not
I
either.
don't. That's not the clown one? You haven't either, Grumps?
I think it is the clown one. He just lives in. I'm excited for that Dairy show though.
Dairy.
Yeah, there's like a show. It's
you seen
about the
that?
clown. It's about Dairy.
Do you know what he's talking about, Ty?
I do not. Are you referring to Dairy Girls?
Yes, probably. I don't know. Anyway, I got a performance for you guys. I've memorized a little.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh gosh, what?
Last year I did a nice little reading of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe for you folks, and I thought I'd come back and do a little thing. But of course, the Raven, I don't know if anybody listened last year, but that's fucking long.
Yeah, it's a
So,
long poem, Grumps. You're turning into a character that only comes out around Halloween. I don't know how you feel about that.
I feel cursed.
Yeah, well, so does everyone else who knows you.
Yeah, well, anyway, this is going to be a nice little excerpt of a public domain piece by one Mr. William Shakespeare. Let's see if you recognize this little thing.
Ty, did you know? You put this on the sheet, Ty, didn't you?
He told me there would be something.
Okay.
Okay, now that you two are done talking,
Yeah, well, you have our rapt attention.
this is not going to be a rap. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a finny snake in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing. For a charm
Crazy, he's got this
of
memorized.
powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, and then no, I added an extra and fuck. Then the charm is firm and good.
I didn't realize there was a second verse to double, double, boil and trouble.
Toil
And trouble.
and trouble.
So,
What'd
what
you
is
think?
that? Well, okay, first thought.
Yep,
Great job,
Thank you.
TBH.
appreciate it.
When you made the mistake in the middle, I feel like you didn't need to sort of call it out so aggressively.
Do you think if I was performing at the Royal Shakespeare Company, then they would have noticed that I had thrown in an extra conjunction?
Probably not, except for the fact that you stopped and yelled the F word. I think that sort of drew a bit more attention. I would never have noticed. I am not a Royal Shakespeare Company person. I thought it was great. What is that from?
Macbeth.
Really? That's it. Wait, that's in Macbeth? For real?
Yeah, it's from Macbeth according to the poetryfoundation.org. It's from
and
Macbeth.
I mean, that's a pretty reputable source, I would imagine. Hard to grab that .org.
Who can say?
That's in Macbeth. Interesting. Is that your favorite Shakespeare play, Grumps? Because I would have had you as a Hamlet guy.
My favorite Shakespeare play is actually Sleep No More.
Oh, okay. Isn't that immersive improv thing that's no longer in existence?
Yeah, I'm real sad about that. I went to the final show. It was really
No
good.
way.
Yeah, well, not the final show. I went to the final run. They extended it quite a bit.
Did you go with Ty? I think Ty went to that also.
I did not know he was there.
I did go with him.
That's pretty concerning. Well, Grumps,
Yep.
if I may call you that, that was very, very good.
Okay, bye.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay. And,
All right.
Ty, do you have I would I mean, there's not much you can do about the fact that you have a drop ceiling, but you might want to call someone in about putting sort of like a second sort of reinforced ceiling just below the drop ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Grumples can just kind of have that zone as his apartment.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I can only imagine the dust that must be all over the different places he has jumped down and then clambered back up.
Yeah, man. You know, like drop bears in Australia.
Isn't that a myth about people telling people that koalas were going to jump on their heads?
Yeah, pretty much. Is that what a drop ceiling is?
I'm not sure. Where were we? All right. Before the as the dust settles from that delightful interlude, let us make our pivot to the questions that have to do specifically with side character quest. All right, Ty. So we've spent a lot of time talking about general TTRPG strategies and approach and philosophy and whatnot. Let's pivot and talk more specifically about your craft in creating side character quest.
Hell yeah, dude.
I am also an audio engineer and a sound designer, and so this is definitely something that is in my wheelhouse as well that I'm very curious about. Trey has asked on Discord. Trey says, where do you find the audio assets for sound design? Because presumably you're not making all of those various sounds yourself.
No. First of all, let me say thank you to Trey, very active person on the Side Character Quest Discord, sending in a lot of good questions. We are definitely not going to get to all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot here from Trey. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Admittedly, some of these are ones that he has like dropped in the Discord and I've already answered there. And, you know, it's like, oh, I'll bring these back up next time we do a show. But answering this question, where do I get assets? When I first started with SCQ, there was a site that I went to a lot that had a bunch of free stuff that had... boy, I would, but hey, Mason, not sure on the legality of it. So I won't call it out. It
wasn't freesound.org?
It was not freesound.org. I have used...
And it wasn't Zapsplat.
It wasn't Zapsplat. I have used both of those.
Okay.
Those are both okay. They're both pretty good for getting you started. And there were some sound effects that I occasionally went to them. But the place that I did go to, which I will not name because I don't want to direct someone else there thinking that it's going to be good, and I really don't know about the logistics of it. I remembered reading their explanation of like what was okay to use the sounds for and what wasn't.
Specifically, we're talking here about licensing and like what you are and are not allowed to use the assets you downloaded from this questionable place in.
Yes.
So their licensing terms, as far as like where you were and weren't allowed to use them, were unclear.
Yes. Basically, they were like, you can use it free for anything you want as long as you fit these requirements. And I'm pretty sure that SCQ fits those requirements, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
And that's why I wouldn't want to point somebody else there because like it's tricky. Nowadays, a few years ago for my birthday, my sisters bought me a membership to Storyblocks, which people think of it as like a place that provides little video clips. I don't have the video stuff. I just have the audio. They've got a bunch of sound effects, a bunch of music that I use all the time. That's my main go-to. I also have a big sound design library that I got when Krotos, I think.
Oh, is it the Krotos starter library?
Yeah, I think I have two libraries from them. One was free. The other, I think, costs like $20 for a lifetime membership. You get it on your computer. And between Storyblocks and Krotos, that covers me most of the time. Occasionally, I'll also go to the tiny shitty library that YouTube makes available to people. And
yeah,
yeah,
it's not shitty. Just
is
because
it?
everyone uses it doesn't mean it's shitty.
Oh.
It's honestly one of the better things YouTube provides, in my opinion.
That's excellent. Okay, so I guess it's just that the specific sounds that I need, they don't have a ton of those. So
Wait, sorry. The music side of it is great. The sound effects are pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
YouTube's music library. There's a free music library you can access from YouTube. If you just go into your channel, YouTube Studio, that has an incredible amount of audio resources that you can use for free in YouTube videos, podcasts, anything else. And it has a selection of sound effects also. So that's a good resource, but the sound effects are lacking.
Yeah.
But so sorry, not to come to the defense of a massive multi-million-dollar corporation, just that music library itself is extremely helpful for creators.
Yes. So that is to say, if you are just starting out and you want some free stuff, freesound.org, Zapsplat, Krotos, I believe, has the free starter library. Mm-hmm. And then YouTube, their creator channel, has some good free stuff. Those are all good to look at. If you want something that's paid, but that you can get a permanent license for once you use, I have found the Storyblocks subscription to be very helpful. And with that,
okay,
we're moving on to the next thing. What is the next question?
Okay, wait. So you just want to,
unless you had more that you wanted to ask me about for that.
I was going to ask you specifically for my own edification about Storyblocks,
yes.
but I will respect your sound. Let's pivot. Next question about side character quests. We're sticking on production stuff here in the back end, just because we'll just knock through them. There's only a few of them. Another question from Trey. What software do you use to make side character quests? I think the proper question is softwares. Which softwares do you use?
We're recording this currently on squadcast.fm, which does a little bit of audio cleanup, also makes it nice and easy to record audio with a guest.
You use their audio cleanup?
No. There's a little bit of like processing that happens behind. Am I not right about that? Is there not a little bit of processing that happens automatically? I don't use any of the audio. I don't use any extra bells and whistles. I don't use the little toggle it on thing.
I have turned those all off. So I guess a peek even deeper behind the curtain, you and I are using the same Squadcast account.
Yes.
Because I created a SCQ studio in here for you because we don't use all of our recording hours for PodCube. I have turned off all of their audio enhancements because the noise reduction and echo cancellation introduce a lot of artifacts and actually reduce the overall quality, and it's better to have control over those.
I do not use those features. I assumed that there was some extra stuff that was happening in the background that I was not aware of. I guess I'm totally wrong about that. But yeah, so I record guests and myself on squadcast.fm. If I'm having somebody record locally on their own computer as just a spare backup, I will have them use either Audacity or GarageBand just because they're free and fairly easy to turn on just locally for somebody that's not already a podcaster. When I'm recording myself locally, I typically use an old copy of Adobe Audition that I own, just because it's what I'm familiar with and I know that it works for recording, so why not? But for editing everything, I will do a cleanup pass with Isotope RX, which does some great noise reduction.
And you're using the external editor that RX provides?
Correct.
Which I don't think they actually offer anymore in their lower tier packages.
No.
You now have to pay So just a heads up, if you're
that was so affordable when I got
it was. It goes on sale fairly often, but they no longer include that external editor, just the plugins, which is kind of a bummer because that external editor is really nice.
It is.
So you record in Audition if you're not recording in Squadcast, and do you still not record in Reaper?
I don't record in Reaper. I don't like their recording interface. I don't know why. I just don't jive with it. The reason Mason is surprised by this is because I edit everything in Reaper. I do all of my sound design in Reaper. I do all of my rough cut audio in Reaper. Everything is in Reaper now. As of, I think, episode 98, I think, is when I started doing that. 97, 99, somewhere around there.
Is it the presence of seeing the extra tracks on the screen when you're recording that makes you feel like it's not as clean? Because it's the same as recording in Audition's multi-track view. And in fact, it handles the file org for you. So maybe this is not as good for the show, so I guess we shouldn't pontificate too long, but I'm curious about the almost superstitious approach to not recording in Reaper.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel that it is a largely a superstitious thing because, like, when I'm recording audio on Audition, the reason I'm recording it is the reason I'm ever recording things on Audition and not just in Squadcast is because I need like a reliable backup, right? And if I need a reliable backup, what's going to tell me that it's reliable? Years of experience in having used the software. Whereas, like, if I was to start using Reaper to record, I would need to get comfortable with it, and it would take me a while for it to earn that trust in me, as a recording software.
I find it super interesting because the one thing that I could certainly say about Audition is that it crashes a lot.
Oh man, there's a reason I switched episode 99 from editing on Audition to editing in Reaper, and that main reason is legitimately, like, editing a single episode of SCQ. I think that Audition would crash somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 to 40 times. Like,
yeah,
it was insanity. I had to save constantly to avoid losing anything, and I still lost stuff because I would get surprised. How
often does Reaper crash?
I think since I've started using that maybe 3 years ago, I think it's crashed on me twice. Ever?
Yeah, same. And it's always my fault. I always did something crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, the difference is so extreme. But for some reason, like, recording audio I've never had a problem with Audition.
I find that very interesting. But to move past that and to put a button on this question before we jump to the next one, if you were going to give advice to someone who wanted to start a podcast like SCQ, what would you tell them to use for software? Would you jump them straight into Reaper, or do you think you would tell them to start with something more simple?
I would say that if you're doing it like SCQ, where you're having guests record externally, I would say that for the recording of yourself and the guests, I would say to use a thing like Audition. Or sorry, not Audition, Audacity, just because it's free. And so that at the very beginning, everybody is using the same thing, right? Like, you're using it, they're using it, we're all using Audacity for the recording. Once you've gotten comfortable with that, I would say start recording in Reaper and do all of your editing in Reaper. Do not edit in Audacity.
Don't edit in Audacity.
Don't edit in Audacity.
You'll only learn bad things you have to unlearn later.
Yes.
Although they are improving Audacity, but that's for our software
wonderful.
podcast we'll do later. Yeah.
Excellent. But yeah, so I would say record yourself and your guests in Audacity because it's free, and then do all of the editing in Reaper. It's a little complicated to learn, but once you learn it, it is the most golden, wonderful piece of audio software I've ever used.
It's genuinely incredible. I'm such a Reaper evangelist after spending about a decade on Audition and working in various capacities. Yeah, Reaper rules. But I don't want to turn this into just Reaper evangelizing. Let us pivot to the next question. Still talking about the production of SCQ. And then after this section, we're going to talk about the lore of SCQ. So we'll pivot over into that after this. Last question about the production side of things from Trey. Is SCQ your main job? Do you want it to be? And I'm going to tack on to this because I think it's inherent in the question. How much time do you spend on an episode of SCQ? What is the time investment as well?
That is
and also thanks to Trey.
Thank you, Trey. That is a great question. Is SCQ my main job? Absolutely fucking not. I have not made. I was going to say I haven't made any money on SCQ. That's not entirely true. I've had maybe a total of like $40 given as tips, donations towards the show. Which I very much appreciate everybody that's done that over the years. From listeners. Then I had those sponsored segments that I did with Flying Crow Coffee quite a while back, and those were great.
Yeah, that was fun. They were fans of the show.
Yeah. They were super great, super nice. And that amount of money, like, I think in total, I don't think I've gotten more than. Okay, well, this is better to think about it. I have spent making SCQ more than I will ever make from SCQ. And that is an intentional thing that, like, I feel when I'm making this show, it feels like it is a hobby that I'm doing. It's not a professional exercise, and I feel like I am, every time I get charged by what's it called, Pinecast, for the hosting fees, the $5 a month hosting fees I have, I feel like I'm giving a gift to people that are listening, because it is not a thing that is ever going to make me money directly, because that's not where I want it to go. I don't want it to be my main job.
So you don't want it to be your main job, because that's the second part of
Correct.
Trey's question. Why don't you want it to be your job?
Because so I could imagine myself editing podcasts as my main job. I could imagine myself making shows as a main job. If someone wanted to pay me to make a actual play, and they were like, here's $1 million, I'm going to make, this is going to be your job now. You're going to make an actual play. I would rather that actual play not be Side Character Quest, because I have enjoyed this being something that I can just do whatever the heck I want with. I enjoy that this is something that I can make a Halloween variety show if I want. That is not part of the actual play stuff. I enjoy being able to do feed drops, even if it doesn't make I enjoy this not being a thing that I'm doing for money.
Is it not having the pressure on it? Is that like you don't need to feel pressured to be creative day in, day out, that kind of thing?
That is a huge part of it. And I a lot of the best ideas I have with SCQ are when I've been sitting on when we have to take a break. Like, okay, I really like that when I'm having a guest on, when I had Fiona on earlier this year, I was able to tell her, like, hey, we're going to record when both of us are feeling good, when we're both happy, when neither of us are stressed, when, if it's going to be if we had things scheduled for Saturday and you're telling me that, like, Saturday you're going to be feeling dead, we can postpone. It's totally fine. And I want this to be a thing that whenever anyone's recording with me, I want them to feel good that they are here, and I don't want them to feel like they are here because this is a job. Yeah.
Are you afraid of the show succeeding in a way that comes with financial things tied to it because of those perceived pressures? Because you did say, to put your own words back at you a moment ago, you said, I could imagine producing shows for a living. I could imagine being a showrunner or producer for a living. And then you said that you wouldn't want SCQ to be your job because you don't want people to feel the pressure around there being a financial incentive behind it. But I also noticed that you don't have a Patreon. You don't often make strides towards monetization, or like you never ask for donations. And because I know you personally, Ty, like we're very close friends. If this is too personal for the podcast, let me know. But are you at all afraid? Does the idea of SCQ blowing up and getting like a comic book deal or whatever fill you with dread more than excitement?
Yo, this is Halloween. It's time for talking about fears.
Here's the spooky.
Like the idea of, I mean, there's a reason that, like, I don't have my last name on this thing, right? Like, there is there's a lot of reasons that there's a lot of reasons not to want to be on there's lots of reasons for this, right? There's lots of reasons that I don't want to make money. One of them is just like dealing with the taxes stuff. It's like not worth it.
Yeah. As someone who is $18,000 in the hole with the IRS, dude, I feel you.
But I am the idea of having suddenly like a much larger audience that it sucks, right? Like I look at the audience for the Adventure Zone, right? Or the audience for Critical Role. And I know there's lots of people out there that are awesome people, that are huge fans of these shows, that do the cosplay and that make the fan art. And that seems so cool. And then I also see the real fucking assholes, the real jerks that are so entitled. And I just I know myself, and I know that which one of those is going to fill my every waking thought if I was to have, a 10,000 listeners an episode. It would be the people that are talking shit about me all the time,
I agree. And I honestly think about this all the time too. A lot of people who are being creative online are told that something you have to do is develop a thick skin. Don't read the comments. Don't look at them. And I think that is, like, I know loads of people are capable of that, but I think similar to you, Ty, I struggle with that. When I get a nasty comment on something I've made, I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we just need to not, I feel like it's weird to normalize and just be like, yeah, people are going to be jerks and you just have to ignore them. I mean, that is true to an extent, but it does suck when it's something that you really care about. And so I'm wondering do you feel that the detachment of making something for work rather than having something become work, do you think it is, like, if you were a show producer, your job is to produce shows versus you love SCQ, you've been making it from your heart, then it becomes successful, and now this, like, baby of yours. Is it that delineation, or?
I think that is the delineation. Like, I would, if somebody was to offer me, like, the money to, like, this is going to be your job now, you're going to be making an actual play, blah, 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 I would still keep on making side character quest, and I'd probably make side character quest more often. It would probably get more listeners, whatever. That's fine. But the show that I'm getting paid to do would not be side character quest. I would make a new show. A separate show that has been from the very beginning. It is a professional endeavor, and I think of it that way, and I enjoy it, and it's a blast, and I have so much fun, but it would not be this. It would be something else. It might be, in many ways, very, very similar, and it might be learning a lot of the lessons that I've learned from this. It might still be a one-on-one actual play. It might, whatever. I don't know. But it wouldn't be side character quest. Side character quest is my thing that is its own thing.
So this is my final question that might be a bit, you've almost touched on what I want to use as a button to close out this segment before we dive into the next segment, which will be entirely about SCQ lore. So one final question on the business side. And it's not even really a business question. What space does SCQ inhabit emotionally for you? It's obviously something that you care a lot about. And I just want to know more about, like, what it does for you. What is the shape of the space it fills in your heart?
I've mentioned before the idea that I never thought that I was a person who was capable of making anything long form. That never felt like a thing that I would ever be able to do. And I think that the fact that I've stuck with SCQ for so long, it is something that I am emotionally protective of and creatively proud of. And yeah, what is the, so
it's a very nebulous question.
No, yeah.
It's just, like, it obviously occupies a space that is sacred to you, right? And that you don't want it to be your job. People making bad comments about it would be really something that would eat at you. You care very deeply about this.
Yeah.
You've said it's proved to you that you can make something that for a long time of a high quality and a high caliber. Is the story something that's, like, been burning inside of you, or is it more emergent? Is it about the experience of making? Did you say
about,
no?
It's about the experience of making. Like, the story of SCQ, I've always thought of the overarching narrative of SCQ, like what the actual, like, thrust of the adventure arc has never been important to me, and that was by design, because I felt that if the end goal of this was an important thing for me, then it would close off my mind to the possibilities brought by the guest players, right? I wanted to be open to what other people would bring, and if I was super excited about this very specific narrative arc, then that would close me off to being able to be open to discovering things, right? So that has never, it's always been about the act of making this thing, meeting people, learning skills, pushing myself to like out of my comfort zone has always been pushing myself out of this comfort zone has always been what this is about. Like I hate the unknowable, the horror of being seen, the horror of being known. I have incredible anxiety around people acknowledging me as a human being. A thing that I used to feel, and I still feel to some extent, the thing that would fill me with the absolute most dread in the world was the concept of people talking about me when I wasn't there, whether it was positive or negative. Any reason, if people, like if you and Brooke were talking about me and saying like, wow, I really love that Thai guy. Anyway, moving on, that would have been all I would have been able to think about for like a week.
Really?
And it would have really fucking freaked me out. I really didn't like it.
Is it because you wouldn't know what was being said and it had to do with you?
The concept of someone having an impression of me that was somewhat off base, even if it was like positive, even if it was if somebody is 99% correct about something about me, but they're missing like 1% of context, that knowing that misunderstanding would be laying there, like, freaked me out.
So it's not so much a fear of being seen, it's a fear of being misunderstood, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a big thing for someone to make a show and then put that out there, because you are putting out these curated segments of who you are for people to build an entirely parasocial idea about who you are. So I can see this as a very big boundary pushing exercise then.
Yeah. It has always been a thing. I've always really, I've mentioned before that like every arc, I'm always trying to do something new. And the conceptual something new is putting myself out there and being known by strangers who I'm always going to, like, making myself have to face the fact that there are people that think they know me but don't know 100% of me. Yeah. I think, and this is just my pet theory, that when you make art for the purpose of enjoying the process of making art and you're not really attached to the outcome, that is closest to like as pure creation as you can get, because you're doing it for the sake of doing it and what happens along the way. I think it's very rare and also very idealistic to do that. Yeah.
And I think you've managed to do it, which is something that I think is extremely commendable. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And similarly, I have only ever managed it with Podcube, trying to make something not for any purpose other than I really love the time that I spend making this thing, and then after it, I have something I can like look back on.
Yeah.
And it's not even about anyone else listening to it; it's about you doing it for you. And so I think that's interesting, particularly in a show like SCQ that has been going on for so long with so much depth and so many different people and so much of its own intrinsic lore. I think it's time for us to make another little turn.
Hello.
Are you okay, Ty? I didn't mean to bum you out. Or
No, I think that's great. I really like that, and I like the idea of the listener getting jump scared by feels.
Yeah, well, I wanted to. I did not intend to go there. I wanted to keep it all light, but then I was like, you know what? I'm really curious. I think that all makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's why I wanted the questions to be out of my control.
Yeah, I think you're giving really good answers, and I want to preemptively encourage you not to over-edit your responses to especially the more heady questions. Don't over-curate it. What you said came out really good, and I think you shouldn't stress it.
Okay.
Because I know if it was me, I would be like, should I really? Who cares about me? Choppa, 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 choppa. And no one could stop me, so I would do it. But I'm trying to tell you, don't do that.
Cool.
All right, so here in the third half of the show. Third half? I don't know how many times we've pivoted.
I don't know how many.
I'm calling it the third half of the show. We're going to call this, or we're going to talk about just the lore questions that have come in, the lore of the world of Side Character Quest. We have a handful of different questions from different people in the Discord, and I have a couple I'm going to throw in of my own. What was that, Ty? What was that little whispered?
I said yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something snarky to me, and I was like, you want to fight right now? All right. As we go through these questions, we're going to do this sort of rapid fire lightning round. After you give your answer, we have a little bell that you will ding
that I'm going to
so
ring.
We can move on to the next one. We're going to see how fast we can breeze through these. And then after this lore section, we're going to dive into your secret hidden game. So make sure you stick around for that. So first question. This comes from Andrea. Andrea asks, what are the main overarching themes of SCQ, whether intentional or not?
These are very intentional. I don't remember exactly if they were from the very first episode on or if they were just within the first couple of quests, but definitely from the first 6 months of making the show, the two main themes of SCQ have been everyone is important. That's theme number one. And forgetting the mistakes of the past is not the same as fixing them. That's the second quest or theme.
Wow, that's a really good one. Okay, next question comes from Trey. Are there priests of Nox other than the former high priest of Lumen?
So I can't get into super hard specifics on this
no
because spoiler territory, but for upcoming stuff. But I will say that there are orders of magnitude fewer clergy of Nox than of Lumen. So basically, if there were 100 clergy for Lumen, there would be 0 to 9 of Nox. Yeah.
Excellent. Next question comes from Trey in the Discord. Trey asks, has anyone tried digging under the wall? This is a good question. I actually have wondered the same thing.
All right. Yeah. Has anyone ever tried? Probably. Probably, yeah.
Oh.
Has anyone ever been seen trying in... What?
So,
what?
Ty, actually, this question was asked by two different people. Shining Dawn in the Discord has said, has anyone tried to dig under the wall? Is that just untapped mining resources? And Trey says, has anyone tried digging under the wall? So, actually, this one was sent in twice.
Man, people love this question. I will say Eli immediately started thinking about this sort of thing, trying to break the sandbox when I first brought him on, and we were talking about conceptually what the point of this was. Narratively, the point of having not narratively, functionally, for the narrative, the point of having the wall was to put very strict bounds on the setting so that I could continue to enrich one space. I could go deep on one space rather than having a sprawling world that just got bigger and bigger and bigger and just started feeling empty in its bigness,
Trying to avoid the No Man's Sky effect. Yeah.
Yes, I am not super. I am familiar with that concept.
Procedurally generated planets that are all unique, but pretty barren and kind of boring because they're not handcrafted. Yeah, so you wanted to keep things constrained so you could handcraft all the details. But what about digging under it, Ty?
Yes. Has any person in this world ever tried to dig under the wall? Answer to that is yes, probably somebody has tried at some point. Have we ever seen anyone trying during the show? As far as I remember, no, I don't think it's ever come up. Did it work? And what would happen? I would say that it isn't stated outright what would happen, but an observant listener could probably figure out what would happen based on information that we see in the show. So, So anybody that doesn't want spoilers for the show, for episodes that have come out so far, should probably skip ahead 60 seconds, something like that. Basically, Silas came over the wall, and the act of coming over the wall erased their memory. Tucker came through that gate, and the act of coming through that gate erased their memory. Chances are digging under the wall would also erase your memory.
Spicy.
So, yeah. If it's possible, which I will say the wall goes pretty deep. So it would be hard to do, but you could probably, I don't know exactly how deep. I haven't made that decision, but it would fuck you up. It would fuck you up if you did it.
That makes total sense. And I didn't hear that bell, though.
Oh, thank you.
That makes a lot of sense. And we also kind of went over, Trey also asked, what is the circle? I feel like you kind of summarily answered that, unless there's more you want to tack on to that.
No, so the circle is a different thing. Wall is the circular structure. I know it's kind of confusing.
I think of it as the
wall is
circle.
a circular, is a circular structure around at the edge of the known world. Anybody in the setting would think of that as like, this is where the world ends. The idea of trying to imagine if you lived on a very large island and surrounding that island was, I'm not going to describe this in a good way. Imagine there's a big fucking wall and you think that's where the world ends.
Imagine you listen to the show and there's a wall and everyone's in it.
The circle is made of very similar material as the wall. It's similarly, it has existed since the loss. It has existed for as long as people know, but it is a smaller structure that is circular and domed, and it's just north of the city Cirque. Again, this is spoilers up to episode 20, I would say. Inside of the wall is a large city of the undead.
Yes, the old city of the undead.
Or sorry, inside the circle, not inside the wall.
Yeah. I think that circles are kind of a large recurring theme because you have a big circular wall and then this circular city. What is the deal with circles, Ty? That's a question from me. Why is everything circular? Is it just that it's like a natural shape to... You just have a center point and a radius, but boom, everything equal from there. You just like it. What's up?
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I wanted something that was easy for guests who have come on, new people. If they ask me, like, how do I picture this? I can just say, like, all right, it's a circle. That's the shape it is. There you go. I wanted something. A lot of the early design of the show was trying to make creative decisions that would not ask a lot of guests to have to like learn a bunch of things. So if it was like, oh well, it's surrounded by a domodron, and you're like, what is a domodron? And it's like, well, it's kind of like shaped like this, and it's kind of shaped like that, and it's really important that you understand exactly how it's shaped. Whereas if it's a circle, I can just say it's a circle. Here, picture that.
Just a nice, neat, tidy narrative thing. Yeah.
Yeah. In fiction, we have sort of seen people use circles in sort of ritual spell casting. So that's the more in fiction thing. It's related to that.
Interesting. I have a self-insert question. Actually, one that just occurred to me. Oh yeah. Okay. I have a self-insert question. So this one comes from me. And it's actually kind of a two-parter. One, does the wall slope inwards as it gets higher, or is it straight up and down?
Straight up and down.
And the second part of the question that comes from me, and if the answer is I've never thought about it, let's not get into it. We can skip past it. But if you have thought about it, what is the impact on the climate inside of the circle or inside of the wall of this giant wall? Is there a certain kind of weather patterns or climate patterns that are affected by the geometry of this giant wall that you've thought about?
Yes, that is a great question. There's a few things that come from this. One, I will say that that the seasons in SCQ are not normal real world seasons. There are, like, when you talk about if people talking about seasons in this setting, you are not talking about a time of year that the world is different, right? You are talking about the appearance of essentially a highly localized storm that dramatically affects the local climate for like a couple days to a couple months.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
So you could have, and the edge of this, the edge of like, you'd be like, oh yeah, we're in what was the word? I had a specific word for one of the seasons that I liked. But let's say that you're in like winter. You're in the winter season. You could be walking out of your town and you're like, oh yeah, my town's been hit by a winter lately. And you're just walking on this path out of town, and over the course of like 20 feet, it goes from winter to a bright sunny summer day. Right? It's very localized. That is not something that has come up on the show much. The hints, the edges of that were mentioned on Lore's Quest, but it has always been a thing that's been in the back of my mind when making the show, and it is a thing that will be important on the next quest.
Interesting. And is that and are you at liberty to say, is that a direct result of the geometry of the wall affecting climate patterns, or is it a magical kind of effect?
It is a magical effect. Whether it has anything to do with the wall, I mean, who knows? Who can say? There are some things that are definitely direct physical effects of the wall being there. So one example is the fact that like as the sun is setting, it's going to cast a really long shadow.
Yeah.
That's something that was mentioned on Syrah's quest. Syrah's family, they're built their estate on top of a very large rock outcropping called Duskstone, because as it becomes dusk, as the sun is setting, this is the one rock that is still in sunlight.
Yeah.
And so like when everything else is in shadow, this beaming, glorious estate is still glowing with the setting sun.
Amazing.
And presumably there's also like effects with like fog and clouds and stuff dealing with this. Like the wall is really tall.
That actually,
so like this.
Yeah, if you'll slap that bell, that ties right into Trey asks, I know people think climbing the wall is utterly, huh?
I was just saying thank you, Trey.
Oh, thank you, Trey. Trey asks, so I know people think climbing the wall is utterly stupid, and I'd assume this is because people have tried, but why did they fail so badly? And how tall is the wall? How tall is that wall, Ty? What's the
How tall is that wall?
What's the story?
Why did they fail so badly? The simple answer there is that the wall is perfectly smooth and there are no handholds. As far as people know, it's too hard to be drilled into, so you can't like make pitons or anchor points to make your way up. So the only way that would be practical to climb would be with scaffolding. But it's so tall that like you'd have to build a structure leaning against the wall.
Like a big ladder or just a huge
big
scaffolding.
ladder or something.
Also, it's pronounced piton?
I don't know, man.
Oh, I think you would know more than me. You do more climbing stuff than I do. I thought it was like pitten or something. I've never heard it out loud. I think you're probably right.
I really don't know.
That sounded right. Here, hang on. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, piton. Oh, did that not? Wait, hold on.
That did not go through, no.
Piton.
Okay.
Piton. I will say that I have had in my mind the idea of having a city or a village or a something that did actually take advantage of the wall to provide structural backing to the sort of like leaning structures. It just hasn't. I haven't had the opportunity to use that. There's a lot of ideas I've had bumming around in my brain that have never really had a chance to come up, but it's in there. Look out. Maybe it'll come up someday.
And then the second half of this is, how tall is the wall? How tall?
How tall is the wall?
I want the answer in centimeters, if you don't mind.
So the height of the sort of sea level height of Earth changes, right? And so the wall is level, and because the wall is level, the height of the wall decreases.
You mean the top of the wall is
the top is level.
You could set a giant plate over the whole thing that was perfectly flat.
Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. And so because the wall, the top of the wall is level, as the ground rises, elevation of the ground rises, the wall becomes shorter. So it varies. So that would mean that it would be at its tallest around the Salton Sea, and it would be at the shortest around Mount Rena.
Right.
at its shortest, it is taller than a mile.
Okay.
The specifics are not really important, but yeah, it's really big. It's really, really big. I'll also add, I'm not 100% sure that I'm remembering this correctly, but I think that there is one peak in the Mount Rena the northern mountain range. I believe that there's one peak that is taller than the wall.
Oh, really?
I believe so. I don't remember if that was stated in the show, so I don't know if that's just in my notes, and I never actually made it official canon. But yeah,
that would imply that there is a peak from which one may stand and observe beyond the wall's borders.
Correct.
Hey, Ty, if you're ever looking for another player, hey, whoever's next in the docket that hasn't started recording yet, why don't you go ahead and find that peak for us? Why don't you go ahead and get up there so we all can figure out a little bit more about this world? Ty, I have but one question remaining.
Oh.
In the lore. Oh, yes. I have but one question remaining in the lore section before we move on to your secret, demented game. It also comes from Trey. Thank you, Trey. Trey says, is the loss before any of the character arcs? As in, is everything we've heard from SCQ post-loss? Or is anything pre-loss?
All right. So first I should say what the loss is. The loss is a historical event that sort of... Yeah, is this loss? Oh, no.
This can't be the first time someone's made that joke to you.
Yeah, it is. As far as I recall, yeah.
Oh.
But the loss is a historical event that sort of sets the scene for SCQ, where all sort of historical cultural knowledge is lost, hence the name. This is also where we have the Forgotten Gods and all of those things. All of this information is just goes away. So the loss occurred roughly 500 years before episode 1. So as you can imagine, that means that everything that all of the stuff happens after that. Is the loss before any of the character arcs? Yes, it's before all of the character arcs.
Well, does that imply that all the character arcs then take place in linear time from one another chronologically? Like we go Sir Roderick, then we, lore happens after Sir Roderick. Talbotton happens when Talbotton happens in sequence, or do you jump around at all with character arcs? I had assumed they were all in sequence, but now I'm questioning.
They are all mostly in sequence. There's I have a timeline written out for this that keeps it all in order. Silas's first episode jumps back 3 years before episode 1. I think that's the only time I do that, jump to earlier points. But some episodes happen at the same time as one another. Like the recent Prisoner arc has a lot of overlap with the recent Fair arc. There's a lot of overlapping things where, like, this NPC can't be in this location because they are in this location, and these two quests are happening at the same time.
Right.
So, but more or less, it is linear, like you were saying.
You haven't done an entire character arc that is like before the character arc we just heard. You haven't like done full swap kind of things.
Yeah. If you see an episode 75, it is almost guaranteed that episode 75 is going to be happening later in time than episode 25.
Gotcha. And the loss is very much before any character arcs.
Yes. It is a historical event, not an event that happens during the show.
And as far as we know, it happens exactly 497 years before any character arcs, because if it was 500 years
correct.
Before Roderick and Silas jumped back 3. Okay.
Yeah, roughly 500 years.
And that's all anyone could ever want to know about the lore of SCQ. Just kidding. Obviously, there is a lot more we could get into, but we don't have any more questions at the time, and we've gone for a while, so I think it's time for this weird game that I am completely in the dark about. It is on the sheet. You've put it on the sheet that you have shared with me, but it is all completely blocked out in dark highlights. I didn't think you could do spoiler tags in Google Docs.
You cannot. You have to highlight the text to be able to see through the dark highlights.
Ah, I see. Okay. So I have not looked at anything, but we have a numbered list that goes from 1 to 20, and I can only imagine what you have planned, Ty.
So this is going to be a thing that I've wanted to do for a long time. This is going to be a little sound design game. So Mason, you and I our sound designers, you and I tend to get a little aggressive in our sound designing of episodes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times we spend so long adding sound effects in post.
Yes.
So what would it be like if instead we had to add our sound effects in pre?
Well, I don't think you can add them in pre, but you could do them live, I guess.
Live. We do it. We add them in live. So what this is going to be, we will take turns rolling a d20.
Ooh, okay.
If we get, let's say I roll a 5, then I would highlight the little text, the little blacked out text next to the 5, read that to you, Mason, and now you have to perform live that sound design cue.
Oh, excellent. I'm so ready.
Yes.
I have just got
and you
my
can
dice.
you can aim for like hyper good realistic, you can aim for humorous, you can aim for whatever. This you can do a trick, you can do a treat, whatever you want.
I'm gonna put my whole butt into whatever it is.
You can put your whole butt into it. These are all Halloween themed in various ways. All right?
Okay, exciting.
So, Mason, you ready?
I'm ready, Ty.
Also, feel free to if you want to use something from your little bag of tricks, feel free.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot in here, so we'll see. All right, first number.
All right, we've got 17.
17.
Oh, this one I was not expecting for the first one. Death knocks on your door.
Okay. All right. Here's my rendition of Death Knocks on Your Door. We're going to first start with atmospherics to build the scene, and then we'll work out.
Okay.
So it's thunder, and it's raining. Heavy footsteps in the mud. Big knock on the door.
It's me, I'm Death. I was wondering if you had a moment to speak. What is your current internet provider?
And that's me shutting the door.
Excellent. Very good. That is exactly what we're looking for here.
Okay. This is like that Dropout show. Make some noise almost.
Excellent.
All right. Are you ready, Ty?
I'm ready.
I'm going to have a number for you. That's me shaking the dice. Ooh, that's a 19.
19.
So number 19, if I go ahead and highlight that, is a rhyming witch incantation.
Man.
Thank God I didn't get this one.
Oh, man.
All right, Ty. Rhyming witch incantation.
All right. Was it we'll do oh fuck, I hate this. Why did I do this to myself? Doyle, it's a bubble. Who can say what you're in trouble? Fight and flight, you will scream when you awake from this unholy dream.
Double, it's a bubble. Who will say if you in trouble? That was amazing work, Ty. All right, we got a bunch to get through. Let's do it. What's the next?
All right. Oh, fuck. 17 again. No, I'll roll again.
Okay.
16. I feel like this is a weighted dice.
Yeah.
This is, oh, yay. Oh, good. Oh, yay. I like this one a lot. A spirit Halloween decoration breaking down.
Oh, okay. So it's one of those walk by things that like reacts when you walk by it. Happy Halloween. That's my attempt.
You're much better at this than I am.
That's not true.
Really good. All right.
I was just smacking my throat. I learned that from Jordan, his stupid robot voice that he does.
Robot voice?
He's much better.
I do not know what you're doing. That's really...
There's a strategy to doing it only on words at the right time. I'm not good at it.
Yeah. Man. Okay. You roll.
Oh, no. That's me rolling. Number 12, Ty, which happens to be Swamp Thing. Bonus, get a surprise party. Swamp Thing gets a surprise party.
All right.
Oh, you guys.
That was very good. It's very swampy. I like the voice you reached for. Very slippery. Okay. This is a fun challenge, Ty.
All right.
What's that?
All right. Oh, this is fun. Number 11, a disappointed vampire.
What's up, everybody? I brought some... Where is everybody? What time? It's not daylight savings time. Hey, Siri. Hey, Siri, text Marco. What? Marco, where are you? You're supposed to have the party. Oh, what a sad day. I'm so disappointed. That one's just an accent. That's a weak one. No point.
I enjoyed it.
Alexa, call my mother.
What do I have? 2 smart devices.
All right, Ty. See if you can do better than that. The bar has been lowered. Oh, the next number for you is number 4, which is Dad gives a stern pre-trick-or-treat lecture.
Now, kids, I need you to just be really, really careful out there, all right? You need to make sure that when the other little kids are coming around with their little bags, you beat the shit out of them. You take those, you take their toys, you take their candies, you get back into the shadows ASAP. I want you guys home by 7. Only way that's going to happen is if you beat the shit out of some kids and get me a full bag of candy and none of that small stuff. I want king-size mounds. Understand? All right.
Interesting interpretation of what stern means. Very much trick, no treat.
All right. Ooh, man, I'm getting all these high rolls, wasting it on this bullshit. Frankenstein's instead of D&D. Frankenstein's monster comes to life.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's like in the movie. There's like lightning and then okay.
Oh, my fucking legs. Oh, God, I just need a minute. Oh, I have a Charlie horse like crazy, dude. Oh, my God. No one told... The thing they don't tell you about being dead is you certainly don't stretch. Holy shit. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, doctor. Oh, just a minute. Oh. So what's the deal?
Very good, very good.
All right, Ty. Your number is the number 11. Oh, we just did that one. Your number is... No, that is 18. Your number is 9. Ty, I'm going to need to hear a classic ghost boo. We're not going for flair. We're going for classic ghost boo.
Boo!
That was straight out of a sound effect pack from Hanna-Barbera. You absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, man.
That was so good.
I had a little cassette growing up from McDonald's of just like a series of Halloween sound effects. And it was great.
That is great. I had a laughing baby that you could swap out these little miniature records that you would play on its back. They were these plastic records, and they were laughter tracks. So it was this laughing baby doll with a record player on its back, and it was the most cursed thing I've ever owned. Anyway, what's my number, Ty?
All right, we've got number 3. Oh, hey, another Frankenstein one. Frankenstein never got his doctorate and is sour about it.
Frankenstein never got his doctorate and is sour about it.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein, not Frankenstein's monster. Unless you want to go that way. Who knows?
They said I would never be able to defend my PhD. But little did they know that I, PhD, more like put him down and then I will make him come back up again. They certainly did not make me a PhD in comedy. No, I want to try that one again.
Yeah. I have a bachelor degree.
I have a bachelor's degree. Respect me. I didn't come up with an angle quick enough for Frankenstein.
No.
Not getting his doctorate. No, they said they need a lightning rod. Oh, I give you a lightning rod. No, I don't have it, Ty. Cut that one.
All right, we're cutting you off. All right, let's go to the next one. What do we got?
We got the next number for you, Ty, is 3. That's the one I just did. Hey, the next number for you, Ty, is 13.
Okay, 13.
A bubbling cauldron.
Wait, oh, fuck. Okay, how do I make this sound with my mouth?
Imagine a scene in which we zoom in on a boat. Hold on, Ty, get ready. Do it exactly like that. We see an old rickety house, darkness through the windows, the wind whipping the tree branches nearby. Inside of a large stone hearth, a fire roars. Above it, a bubbling cauldron. You gotta, you brought some vocalization in before. That is so cauldron. It's giving cauldron.
I actually think that one is actually pretty good. I don't know how it sounds outside of my head, but in my head, it sounds pretty good.
It's a little upsetting.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Just a couple more to go.
All right. Number 10, a disappointed trick-or-treater.
Oh. That's it. It's one of the bull houses. I hate the bull houses. I see, that's more, this is less, it was originally about sound effects, and this is like do a solo improv scene, which is what's tripping me up. Because
yeah, you can go back to sound effects as much as you want.
Yeah. Dong, dong. Twick or tweet. Oh, yep. Oh, cool. Pamphlet about Jesus. Oh, thank you. Bye. That's my disappointed trick-or-treater. Okay, Ty, I have rolled a 2. This trick-or-treater seems too familiar.
Let me tell you, Mason, I really hope I don't have to do the 1.
I wonder why that is.
This trick-or-treater seems too familiar. Okay. Deborah?
I was expecting a trick or treat after that. Deborah? Trick or treat? Oh, God.
When I don't know, see, this is exactly what I was talking about before, Mason. Don't try to be funny.
Just try to be a little bit Ray Romano when you think too familiar.
Deborah. Wait, no. Deborah.
Okay, we got a couple left, Ty.
Okay, let's go. All right. 15. We have got
15. A zombie.
Oh, I'm good at this one.
Yeah.
A zombie.
I was a zombie semi-recently as a background walla for the podcast Omen. I don't think that season is out yet, but when it is, I'm a zombie in that, and it went a little something like this. You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that was really good.
Guttural. All right, Ty. This one for you. 14.
That's mine.
That's good.
Thank you.
But it was mine. You are doing number 14, which is vampire, turns into a bat, and flies away. I want to hear every beat of this.
I want to suck your... Oh, not again. Be positive. I don't care about this shit. All right, bye, fools. Bet.
He's flying back and forth.
I like this world in which they have to say what, like, bet.
Bet.
All right, Ty. Right. There are 6 left.
Yes.
Nope. There's 6 left. 3 each.
Okay. Oh, the nearest. I rolled a 19, but we're just going to go to the nearest one to avoid having a roll. A terrifying monster kills. Make it genuinely scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
No! Stop! No! Please stop! I can't. Stop! My wife! I can't.
Very good. Very good. Oh, I love that.
Oh, that made me burp. Okay, Ty.
Yep.
You have to sweat for your next 3 also. All right. Your third to final one is actually going to be number 5.
Oh, thank God. We're getting really close to number 1. I just really don't want to have to do that one. All right. A small cat turns. Do you read it?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I was out of breath. Thank you for getting that. A small cat turns out to be a nightmare beast. Wow. Yeah, dude, that's good. That was a really good transition from that cat sound.
Thank you.
Oh, hot diggity dookie. That sure was spooky. What's the next one?
Oh. All right, we've got a number 8. Jack doesn't want to be made into a lantern.
Jack doesn't want to be... Who's Jack?
Like a jack-o'-lantern?
I don't know how I missed that, Ty. It seems so obvious. So anyways, I was sitting in the pumpkin patch the other day, and I was talking to Jim, and I was like, "Hey, Jim, what's your plans for the winter?" And Jim looks at me, and he goes, "I think I'm gonna get carved up. I think I'm gonna go under the knife." And I was like, "Jim, you're beautiful just the way you are." And
Jim should never do that.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, you got a perfect stem sticking straight up. I don't have a long stem. I got one of those stupid little dinky ones. Comes off in 2 places. I mean,
that's beautiful too.
Yeah, I mean, Jim's an end of the vine guy. Like, he grew up on the other end. And I just don't see what he sees in it. I don't want to hollow me out. I mean, that's when my soul's in there. That's Jack. Okay, Ty. Your second to last one is 6. Werewolf transformation.
Okay. Oh, man. All right.
Werewolf transformation.
Oh.
Yo, Ty. 10 out of 10. Yo, cut out all the middle ones. Let's just do the first few and the last ones. Damn. That was fire.
All right. Okay.
All that's left for me is 7. What is it?
A creaky door in a spooky house.
Oh, hell yeah. I already did that a couple of times. Let me try and dust off the old vocal cords and see if I can't really do that some justice. I want to hear the latch. I want to hear the twisting. I want to hear the hinges, and I want to hear the door. Let's see if I can do it. Nope. What's that sound? You know, like the little flick latches?
Very good.
Tried to rein it in that time. Okay.
No, it was very good.
All right, Ty. And I guess to button this entire thing up, the last thing that remains is number 1. And I think we're each going to have to take a swing at this. I'm going to unhighlight it right now to find out what it is. Scream!
Oh, man. Okay, this is a genuine one. I don't want to do it because I have other people in this building, but I'm going to do it.
I live above a restaurant, so I'm also a little nervous.
All right, I'm gonna lead with it because, boy, I don't want to follow you. All right, let's see if I can, like, muffle my voice a little bit.
That was pretty good. I had a little bit of Wilhelm in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give 2 options.
Okay, thank you.
Here's option 1. Just a nice little short, unusual. And then I'm going to see how long and quietly I can scream. No, that doesn't sound like anything. That's a little bit.
That was
I
pretty
can
good.
get you a much spicier horror scream if you need.
No. Those were both wonderful. Unless you had one that you wanted to do.
Getting hit in the chest with a big piece of wood. There we go.
Efforts are a real interesting game, aren't they?
They are my favorite part of voice acting. Is efforts. Honestly, and we're totally off track here, but in this loosey-goosey post-game energy, I feel like that is about 80% of what makes Podcube is like a lot of efforts. There's a lot of that in there. And it's like my favorite thing. Getting your body into it. That was fun, Ty. Thank you for enjoying... Thank you for inviting me. I was trying to say... thanks for enjoying and thanks for inviting. And I said, thanks for enjoying. Wait.
What?
Hold on. Let me back up.
This is all going in.
No, cut this out. Here's a question that can't be left in. Do we?
We can. That's fine.
That was a fun way to close out the show, Ty. That was very challenging. I did not come into this expecting to have to do any of that, so I wish I could have warmed up. But
Too bad.
Too bad. Thank you for inviting me to guest host this. Thank you, of course, for being here and for making Side Character Quest the show that this is entirely about and hosted on. So if you're listening, make sure you follow this show that you're already listening to. I was going to try and segue into plugs because that's just what my gut instinct is. And I was like, what do you have to plug, Ty, on your show? I don't think there's anything to plug. There's the Discord server, which you should join. Absolutely. Assuming there's a link in the show notes.
There will be a link in the show notes.
The website, sidecharacterquest.com. You don't talk about how good your frickin' website is. It's really good. Go check that out. And other than that,
give a shout to if you have a question you want for a future answered on a future episode, or if you just want to say hi. I would love to include questions or voicemails more often. So SCQ 371 loud. Give us a shout.
SCQ 371 LOUD. SCQ 371 LOVE if you want. SCQ 371 loud. SCQ 371 love. Ty, it has been a blast as always hanging out with you.
Thank you. It has been a blast hanging out with you as well.
And I think I've gotten the chance to say this before, but I always relish in the opportunity. Why don't we pitter patter on out of here?
Let's pitter patter.
Pitter patter.
Thank you to the Joy Drops for the use of Not Drunk as our intro and outro music. Thanks to all of our guests, and thanks to you for listening. You can find us and say hi over at sidecharacterquest.com or by checking out our show notes for more links and information. If you're enjoying the show, drop a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts, and we'll see you around. Bye!
I really like that. I really like that as a post-show thing. Pitter patter, pitter patter.
It's great.
Hey, I'm Brooke. My friends and I perform spooky stories on our podcast 13. 13 is a movie for your ears with immersive sound design and music from our composer. And we're not reading you the same old ghost stories from Reddit. With original stories from our in-house writers and submissions from up-and-coming authors, 13 will make you smile, break your heart, and have you wishing for a nightlight. Atmospheric, slow burn, always spooky, and sometimes sexy. Our friends are some of the best voice actors and writers in our little corner of the podcast industry. So if you want to find out why those figures in black keep meeting by the water just before dawn, why you should never sleep in a room with an empty chair, or why you hear faint music echoing from the abandoned mall, join us. by following 13 wherever you're listening right now. That's 13, the word, not the number, all spelled out.
Bridget Howard keeps asking for my teeth.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
This is just gonna all just be bloop stuff.
I'm going to do my best Thai hello
Yep.
to start it the way that you do.
Okay, great.
Because you're always like, hello and welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hello. That's kind of your...
Hello.
Yeah, that's...
and welcome.
And the thing is, I was thinking about the face you make.
click into your app.
Click into my app?
Yeah, it's telling me app is not focused.
Oh, yeah. How is that?
I don't know what much it went away, so I think you're good.
It's going to go away when I click over into Discord. Real quick, also, let me make sure that you can hear this.
Hi, yeah, I'm calling in for your Halloween question show.
Did that?
Yes, I can hear that. Perfect. Yeah. What was I going to say about something? No, you tell me what you were going to say about something.
No, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything?
No.
Oh, what I was going to say is, Mason, disgusting.
Sorry.
What? Just kidding. I was just going to say that I didn't realize that I didn't have a green apple until until like 20 minutes before this thing, and like the nearest grocery store is 20 minutes away, and so I was like, fuck. So I don't have my green apple. I've had a green apple before every recording for so long.
Wait, seriously? Are you ritualistically a green appler for the mouth clicks? Hey, Ty.
Yeah.
Drink more fucking water. Then you won't need that. Yeah, dude, that's clicky.
Yeah.
Drink more water.
Yeah. I do drink a lot of water, but I went hiking this weekend, and so I'm very dehydrated, and I just got back and have not really rehydrated. Is it Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
I had time.
The way you said that was fucking amazing. I had time.
Also, I went to get water about 30 minutes ago, which is not enough time to really hydrate your system. But I went to get water, and
You've already drank it down?
My little filter. No, my filter was empty. It didn't have anything in it, and so I just had this tiny little, 3 ounces left in my 32-ounce Nalgene.
Yeah. You can't.
Product placement.
That's an old proverb. A man cannot subsist on 29 ounces from a Nalgene. Or
2 to 3 ounces of 32-ounce Nalgene.
I got too obsessed with doing the math of 32 minus 3. I fucked up my own joke.
9.
Okay.
Oh, man, that's great. All right.
You ready?
All right. Yeah, I'm ready, man. All right, let's go for it.
Hello and welcome to the side character.
That wasn't very good.
No? That wasn't that?
No, give me more energy.
Okay. Do my best Thai hello.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to side.
No.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
This is how you open the show. Hello. No, that's going to be audio hell. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next question also comes to us from Trey in the Discord. Has anyone tried...
Wait, quick question?
Yeah?
How well can you hear that bell? Is that coming through nice?
I can hear it pretty good.
Cool. All right, continue.
Next question also comes from Trey in the Discord. Trey asks, Next question comes from Trey in the Discord. Trey asks, has anyone tried digging under the wall? If you highlight, will I be able to see it?
I don't know.
So why don't you start by quickly, let's just test somewhere.
I'm going to highlight Mason, don't look at this. And you tell me if... All right, so it's Mason, don't look at this has disappeared?
Yep.
All right, now I'm highlighting. It's highlighted now. Can you read it?
I can't see it. Okay.
All right, so I will highlight it, and you can once I have rolled a number, I will tell you what that number is, so you can also highlight it for yourself, but I will then read it to you for the listener's benefit.
Okay.
All right.
Don't highlight 11. You just cheated.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it.
Oh, you know what these are, actually.
I was trying to remove the highlights so that I could read it. When we to make it simpler, when one of us rolls it, we will unhighlight it for the other person.
Okay.
All right. I think oh man, that's the thing that happens on what we do in the shadows, which I heard the reason that Laszlo's actor did that was because the director told him to like jump for the transformation, and he was like, fuck that, and just said, I'm just gonna yell bat instead.
That's great. I still need to watch that show.
Oh, it's a great show.
No, cut this out. Here's a question that can't be left in. Do we hit any of the other stuff on the sheet, or do we call it good here because we've been going for a while?
We can call it good here unless there's anything that specifically calls to you and we want to end with.
No, there's a lot that we didn't touch. As long as that's cool with you, I think this is a good spot to
That's fine.
to button it.